9 days ago, a founder in Austin closed his laptop at 2 in the morning, sat in the dark, and asked himself one question. Not how do I fix this? Not who do I call? He asked, can I survive what's coming tomorrow? That question is the reason you clicked on this video. Because right now, something in your business, your health, your relationships, or your own head is falling apart. And you are searching for something stronger than motivation. You are searching for Stoic mental toughness, the kind that doesn't come from a hype speech, but from a system. A system built 2,000 years ago by men who buried their children, lost their fortunes, got exiled from their own cities, and still woke up the next morning and led. That is exactly what you are getting today. 9 Stoic rules. Real ones. Rules that do not care about your excuses, your bad quarter, your investor who ghosted you, or the co-founder who just walked out the door. These rules were built for chaos. They were built for the exact moment you are in right now. So if you are the kind of founder who nods along to inspiration but forgets it by lunch, this is not that video. Stay with me until the end, because Rule 7 alone will change how you handle every crisis for the rest of your life. Let's start with something most people get wrong on day 1 of building anything. They think toughness means feeling nothing. It doesn't. Marcus Aurelius, the most powerful man on earth at the time, wrote himself notes at night because he was terrified, frustrated, and exhausted just like you. He ruled an empire during a plague, a war, and a betrayal by his closest general, all at once. He did not write those notes because he had it together. He wrote them because he didn't, and he needed a way to keep functioning anyway. That is Rule 1. Toughness is not the absence of fear. It's functioning anyway. If you are waiting to feel calm before you make the hard call to your team, you will wait forever. Calm is not a precondition for courage. Courage comes first, and calm follows behind it, limping, late, but it comes. Rule 2 is where most founders quietly destroy themselves without realizing it. They spend their entire day fighting things they cannot control. The market shifted. A competitor got funded. A client left for no reason they will ever explain to you. None of that is yours to fix. What is yours is the next decision you make in the next 10 minutes. Epictetus was born a slave, lost the full use of his leg from an injury nobody bothered to treat properly, and still became one of the most respected teachers in Rome. He built an entire philosophy around one brutally simple idea. Some things are up to us, and some things are not. Your job is not to win every battle life throws at you. Your job is to stop wasting your energy on the ones that were never yours to win. Every hour you spend angry at something outside your control is an hour stolen from the one thing that could actually save your company. Now here is where it gets uncomfortable, because Rule 3 is going to sound like the opposite of everything you've been told. You need to imagine the worst case, not vaguely. Specifically, Seneca, one of the richest men in Rome, used to deliberately eat like a beggar and sleep on the floor a few days a month. Not because he enjoyed suffering, but because he refused to be afraid of it. He wanted to know, in his bones, that if he lost everything tomorrow, he would still be able to survive. That is the real definition of Stoic mental toughness for a founder. It's not blind optimism that everything will work out. It's the quiet, tested confidence that even if it doesn't, you will still be standing. Sit down tonight and actually write out your worst-case scenario. What happens if the funding falls through? What happens if you have to shut the doors? Most founders avoid this because it feels dark. But the fear you refuse to look at is the fear that controls you. The fear you stare down loses its grip within minutes. There is a reason ancient generals trained their soldiers on the exact terrain they expected to fight on. They did not want the battlefield to be a surprise. Your mind works the same way. If collapse has already been rehearsed, it cannot ambush you. This is not pessimism, and it never was. It is preparation disguised as discomfort, and it is the difference between a founder who freezes when the bank calls and a founder who has already decided, months ago, exactly what he will do if that call ever comes. Before we go further, understand something about these first 3 rules. They are not separate ideas floating on their own. They are the foundation the next 6 are built on top of. Function without needing calm first. Stop bleeding energy into things you cannot touch. Rehearse the worst so it loses its teeth. Get those 3 wrong, and nothing else in this video will hold weight in your life. Get them right, and what comes next is going to hit you even harder, because Rule 4 is about to expose the one habit that is quietly making every crisis in your business feel bigger than it actually is. He built an empire, and yet every night before bed, Marcus Aurelius sat down and made himself answer 3 questions. What did I do wrong today? What did I leave undone? What did I do well? Most founders skip this step entirely. You close your laptop, you scroll for 20 minutes to numb out, and you fall asleep with the day's chaos still sitting undigested in your chest. That undigested chaos is Rule 4, and it is the quiet habit destroying your resilience without you ever noticing it. Every unprocessed mistake, every unexamined bad decision gets carried forward into tomorrow, and the one after that, until you are dragging 6 months of unfinished emotional weight into a meeting that only needed you for 20 minutes. The Stoics called this practice a kind of daily accounting. Not to punish yourself, to close the books. You cannot build tomorrow's strength on top of yesterday's mess if you never actually looked at the mess. 5 minutes tonight, 3 honest questions, and you start tomorrow lighter than you started today. That is not a soft self-help trick. That is how Roman emperors managed empires without losing their minds. Rule 5 is going to sound almost insulting at first, so stay with me. Your reaction is a habit, not a fact. When your biggest client emails you at 11 at night to cancel the contract, your body reacts before your brain even catches up. Heart rate spikes, jaw clenches. Some part of you wants to fire back a message you will regret in an hour. Here is what nobody tells you. That reaction was trained into you over years, and it can be untrained the exact same way. Epictetus taught something so simple, most people brush past it. It is not events that disturb us, it is our judgment about those events. The email did not ruin your night. The story you told yourself about what that email means for your future ruined your night. 2 founders can receive the identical bad news, and one spirals for a week while the other adjusts a plan by Tuesday morning. The difference between them was never the news. It was the half-second of interpretation that happened right after they read it. You can train that half-second. Every time you catch yourself spiraling, ask one question out loud if you have to. Is this the event? Or is this the story I am telling about the event? That single question, repeated enough times, becomes the wall between a bad Tuesday and a bad month. Now let's talk about something that most mindset content gets completely backwards. Rule 6 is not about eliminating obstacles, it is about needing them. Marcus Aurelius wrote a line that founders quote constantly without actually living it. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Read that again slowly, because it is not poetry, it is a mechanism. Every single obstacle currently sitting on your desk right now, the investor who said no, the engineer who quit mid-sprint, the product that broke on launch day, is not standing between you and the version of yourself you are trying to become. It is the raw material for that version. There is no shortcut around this. Stoic mental toughness is not built in the quiet months when everything is going fine. It is built exclusively in the exact weeks you are currently living through. If you had a smooth, obstacle-free year, you would come out the other side exactly the same founder you went in as. It is friction, and only friction, that forges anything worth having. So stop asking, why is this happening to me? Start asking, what does this specific obstacle require of me that I have not yet developed? That question alone will change the next 5 years of your career. Here is Rule 7, the one I promised you earlier, and it is the one that separates founders who burn out from founders who last decades. You are not required to have an opinion about everything that happens to you. This sounds small. It is not small. Every time a headline breaks, a competitor launches, a stranger on the internet criticizes your product, your brain wants to form an instant verdict, good or bad, right or wrong, threat or opportunity. That instinct is exhausting, and worse, it is optional. Seneca described the wise man as someone who could receive an insult the way a rock receives a wave, letting it break against him without moving an inch. Not because he did not feel it, because he refused to spend his limited daily energy reacting to every wave that came near him. You have a finite amount of attention and emotional bandwidth each day. Spend it reacting to everything, and you will have nothing left for the 3 decisions that actually matter. Spend it selectively, and you become nearly impossible to knock off course. Start practicing this today. The next time something happens that used to hijack your entire afternoon, pause before reacting and ask, does this actually require my energy, or can I simply let it pass? Most things, once you actually ask that question honestly, do not. 2 rules remain, and they are the ones that tie everything you have just heard into something you can actually use the next time your entire world feels like it is on fire. Rule 8 is the one that most driven people resist the hardest, and it is this. Rest is not the opposite of discipline. It is part of it. Somewhere along the way, founders started treating exhaustion as a badge of honor. Like the person who slept 4 hours and answered emails at midnight is somehow more committed than the one who protected 8 hours of sleep and showed up sharp. The Stoics never taught that. Seneca wrote entire letters warning against the kind of busyness that looks productive but is actually just a person running from their own thoughts. He said the mind, like a field, needs periods left fallow, or it stops producing anything worth harvesting. You are not a machine that scales output the longer you stay plugged in. You are a human being with a nervous system that has limits, and pretending otherwise does not make you tougher. It makes you slower to notice when you are already breaking. The founders who last 20 years in this game are not the ones who never rested. They are the ones who treated rest as a strategic decision, not a moral failure. Tonight, instead of 1 more hour of work that your tired brain will barely absorb anyway, try closing the laptop 30 minutes earlier. Notice what happens to your judgment tomorrow morning. That is not weakness. That is the same discipline you apply to revenue, applied to yourself for once. Rule 9 is the one I want you to actually remember when everything is on fire, because it ties every single rule before it into one sentence you can carry into any crisis. You do not control what happens, you only control what you do next. That is it. That is the entire philosophy, stripped down to its bones. Marcus Aurelius did not get to choose the plague that swept through Rome during his reign. He did not choose the war on the frontier or the betrayal from a man he trusted with an army. Seneca did not choose exile, and he certainly did not choose the order to end his own life that eventually came from an emperor he once tutored as a boy. Epictetus did not choose slavery or the injury that left him limping for the rest of his years. None of them controlled the events that defined the hardest chapters of their lives. Every single one of them controlled what came after those events, the response, the decision, the next right action. That is the whole game. Not one of the 9 rules you just heard asks you to control your circumstances. Every one of them asks you to control what you do inside those circumstances. Your funding round fell through. You do not control that anymore. It already happened. What you control is the next call you make, the next version of the pitch you build, the next decision about who stays on your team and who does not. Your product broke on launch day. You do not control that anymore either. What you control is whether you spend the next hour panicking or the next hour fixing. This single shift from asking what happened to me toward asking what will I do now is the difference between founders who fold under pressure and founders who somehow, impossibly, get sharper the worse things get. Think back to everything you just walked through. Function before you feel calm. Stop bleeding energy into what you cannot touch. Rehearse the worst case until it loses its teeth. Close the books on each day before it poisons the next one. Catch the story you are telling yourself before it becomes your reality. Treat every obstacle as raw material instead of an enemy. Stop reacting to every wave that touches you. Protect your rest like it is part of the strategy, because it is. And remember always that you were never in control of what happens, only of what you do next. This is not a list you read once and forget by tomorrow afternoon. This is the actual operating system that carried 3 men through slavery, empire, plague, exile, and a death sentence. And it is available to you tonight, for free, sitting exactly where you are right now. Stoic mental toughness was never about becoming numb to what is happening around you. It was about becoming the kind of person nothing happening around you can actually break. So here is what I want you to do. Pick one rule from the 9 you just heard. The one that hit you hardest. The one that made you sit up a little straighter or made you a little uncomfortable, and apply it to whatever is currently going wrong in your business before you go to sleep tonight. Not tomorrow. Tonight, because the founders who make it are not the ones who read about resilience. They are the ones who used it the same day they learned it. If this gave you something you needed to hear right now, hit like on this one. It genuinely helps this channel reach the next founder who is sitting exactly where you were 9 minutes ago. Subscribe to Stoic Founder if you want more of this, because we are building an entire library of these principles for people building things under pressure. And send this to the one founder in your circle who needs to hear Rule 9 today more than anyone else you know. We will see you in the next one.